Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pastor Sykes.
Streaming live on WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Here's J.B. Buno.
Charlie Crist announcing his run for Florida governor in 2022. We're here live from St. Petersburg, Florida, where the speakers are set to get underway here and introduce Charlie Crist here to the crowd that is gathered here in St. Petersburg. J.B. Buno here with you live in the WFLA Now Stream Center alongside WFLA political anchor Evan Donovan. Evan, we're going to hear the speaker here in just a moment, but first, send things over to you here. You're there at this event. Again, Charlie Crist is trying to reclaim his old seat here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, the man who already served once as Florida governor as a Republican, then changed to independent, became a Democrat, and continued his career on as a St. Pete congressman after he left office. He's run for senator. He was the attorney general. He is a longtime Florida politician, well known around the state. But it's a new state. You know, as Susan McManus, former political science professor at USF and now professor emerita, said yesterday, how many people have moved to the state in the last 15 years and don't know who Charlie Crist is unless they're from the Tampa Bay area? But his name definitely means a lot in Florida political circles. The question is, can he levy all of that into electoral success for his old job?
Evan Donovan is there for us, and he'll have, of course, on-air coverage tonight on WFLA News Channel 8 here, folks. We're also activating a poll here in the Facebook Live comment section. I want to hear from you. You can use hashtag HeyEvan, hashtag HeyJB. Evan, this is going to be an interesting Democratic primary. I know that Nikki Fried is one individual, I'm sure, who's going to be watching this press conference with interesting intent, already tweeting quite a bit this morning. Your thoughts about the Democratic primary and how it's shaping up for 2022?
Well, this is the first shot across the bow, I guess you could say, in the Democratic primary. Crist is the first candidate to announce that he is going to give it a run. Fried is expected to join the race, has not so far, widely expected. And last month, in a poll done by St. Pete Polls, very reliable pollster in the state of Florida, one commissioned by Florida Politics, Nikki Fried was in a dead heat with Governor Ron DeSantis for governor, and yet isn't even a contender yet. And so clearly, one might argue she's the favorite. In fact, she was above Charlie in recent polls. So I think we're going to have to wait to see whether she jumps in. She would likely position herself to the left of Charlie Crist, who is a very moderate Democrat, obviously, as a former Republican. Then you've got Val Demings, the Congresswoman from Orlando. You've got Representative Stephanie Murphy, another Congresswoman from the Orlando area. State Representative Anna Escamani from the Orlando area. Then there are some other South Florida Democrats that have been rumored to be considered to jump in. So it's early yet, but it's starting to get late, if you know what I mean. Charlie jumping in the race is sure to kickstart the 2022 Florida governor's race.
WFLA political anchor Evan Donovan here for us. Let's listen in here as we now have our first speakers. Thank you, Evan.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Lord. You didn't leave me. Thank you because you didn't let my enemies take. I'm still in the fight. I made it. All right. I made it. I made it out all right. Does anybody believe it? Said I made it out all right. Ooh. I said I made it out. Said I made it. Yes, sir. So thank you. Didn't leave me no forsake me. Thank you because you didn't let my enemies take me. I'm still. I made it. I made it.
For those of you joining us here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and on our social media platforms, JB Buno here with you live in our stream center here. We're live from St. Petersburg, Florida. Charlie Crist, the Congressman Charlie Crist, former governor of Florida, Charlie Crist, is announcing another run for governor to in attempt to challenge Governor Ron DeSantis in 2022, launching a bid for the Democratic side of the ticket. You can see here that many of the supporters of Charlie Crist have gathered here in St. Pete being Charlie's hometown here, so trying to, of course, to launch another successful bid for the governor of Florida. And as we await some speakers here, we can take some of your comments here in the Facebook Live comment section. Very curious to note, as Brian McKay was noting here a short time ago, and if you want your comment to be featured here on screen, just use hashtag HeyJB. Brian McKay, hashtag HeyJB. Now we know why DeSantis chose St. Petersburg yesterday. I'm not entirely sure whether or not the two are related, Brian, but we were talking about this yesterday. Governor Ron DeSantis choosing St. Petersburg yesterday to sign the bill to suspend the bill and the emergency order to suspend all local COVID-19 orders across the state. That was an interesting. I'll be looking for some more of your hashtag HGB comments here, but as we see here, we have our first speaker. Let's listen in.
That was awesome music, wasn't it? Let's give it up for the Tampa Bay Community Worship Chorale. They were awesome. Well, I'm so happy to be here today with all of you and with my good friend, Governor and Congressman Charlie Crist, on this very special day. And I'm especially happy to be back here in the Burg and back home with my wife Christina and my family after spending a very, very difficult past couple months up in Tallahassee. And y'all saw what happened, right? I mean, I went up there in the beginning of the year in earnest to try to find common ground about how we can come together to help Floridians in this incredible crisis. This is one of the worst crises we've lived through as a nation. We had an opportunity, and I would say we had a moral obligation to meet this moment and to help our fellow Floridians in this time of need. And unfortunately, we had one of the least productive, most wasteful, and most harmful sessions I've ever seen. Folks, it was an absolute train wreck. Now, too many of my colleagues in Tallahassee are only interested in scoring partisan points, starting culture wars, fighting on social media, than actually getting things done for the people. I was proud to join with my Democratic colleagues in the Florida House every day to fight back against Ron DeSantis' radical agenda. We fought back against an anti-democratic bill that criminalized our First Amendment rights to free speech and to peacefully protest. We fought back against a bill that makes it harder for us as Floridians to exercise our right to vote. We fought back against a hurtful and terrible bill that discriminates against transgender children, and we fought back against more preemptions for our local governments, those leaders who you'll hear from in a minute who are actually working to solve problems as opposed to politicize them. Now, I was proud to stand on the floor of the House and lead the fight with my colleagues against this agenda. But let's be honest, folks, about where this radical agenda is coming from. It's coming from our own governor, Ron DeSantis. And they are not going to stop until we vote someone into office that actually reflects our beliefs and values. We've had 35,000 Floridians that have lost their lives because of this pandemic. And Governor DeSantis has spent the time he should have spent protecting our residents, investing in these culture wars and these political attacks. The bills my Republican colleagues just passed in the Florida legislature are a disgrace, but they're also a distraction. They are a distraction from the complete dereliction of duty we have seen from this governor. Now, we have a chance over the next year and a half to elect someone with compassion and the experience to stand up for Floridians and make progress on the issues that we actually care about: protecting the quality of our water, growing our economy, ensuring a free and just society for all Floridians. Like many of you here, I've known Charlie for a long time. Governor and Congressman Crist has dedicated his life to public service. His leadership has always been guided by the golden rule. He's probably showed you his bracelet. Charlie is a listener, he's a doer, and he has humility. He's a man that believes in working together to find the right solution and not speaking over his fellow Floridians or yelling at reporters just so he can get on Fox News. Charlie, I'm here as your neighbor, as your constituent, and as your friend to say thank you for your lifelong commitment to the people of Pinellas County, the commitment to our state and our nation. There is so much work to be done together to build a better Florida, and we are so fortunate to have you in this fight. I am grateful for your leadership and for your friendship. We all are. God bless you today, Charlie Crist, and God bless the people of this great state of Florida. Thank you.
Streaming live to WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and our social media platforms. We're here live from St. Petersburg. You can see a socially distanced crowd here in St. Pete for the announcement here today that Charlie Crist will be running for governor, hoping to challenge Governor Ron DeSantis in 2022 next year. Before he gets to that stage in the process, as far as challenging him in the general, he's got to get through the primary. We're expected to hear more candidates in the months ahead here announce their candidacy for the Democratic ticket here
Ladies and
in the state of
gentlemen,
Florida.
please
As we listen
welcome
in for the next
Commissioner
speaker.
Janet Long.
Good morning, citizens of Pinellas County. Whoa. Well, okay. I'm not exactly sure what that was all about. Hold on 1 minute. All right, let's see. Everybody hear me? Okay, so I'm going to keep my remarks brief. I know it's really hot out there, and I'm very happy, couldn't be more pleased to be here to talk about my friend Charlie Crist. I don't need to tell all of you what we have lived through during this last 14 months. It has been devastating. We've gone through an economic recession, and this has required all of us to come together, to work together, and to incite change that could overcome these obstacles. More than anything else, it has required strong leadership. COVID-19 has taught us a lot of things about our county, our state, and our country. We've worn masks, social distanced, kept our businesses and venues clean because we knew that is what would save lives and get us out of this pandemic. The people of Pinellas County have risen to the occasion, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of how we have enabled the numbers to keep going down. The reason the numbers have gone down is because of the strong leadership in local government, not because of what they've done in Tallahassee. So we need leaders from City Hall to the White House that reflect the same leadership qualities. And with the election of President Biden and ongoing leadership of mayors like Rick Kreisman and leaders like my friend Commissioner Renee Flowers and State Legislator Ben Diamond, I think we're on the right track. Unfortunately, we're sorely missing that leadership in the governor's mansion and in the state legislature. But we can change that. We can change that by electing my friend and yours, Charlie Crist, as Florida's next governor. You know, I've known Charlie Crist since he first ran for the Florida Senate. And Charlie and I and Mayor Kreisman were elected in the same year. He was elected governor. I was in the state legislature along with the mayor. So one day, some of you will remember this horrible bill that the legislature was trying to pass, and they did. And it was Senate Bill 6, and it had to do with education, where the legislature thought they knew more about how to teach in the classroom than our teachers did. So we were railing against that bill. Well, it passed anyway. So one day, we're in our caucus meeting getting ready to go on the House floor. The door opens, and here walks in Charlie Crist. First words out of my mouth were, "Welcome, Governor. What are you doing here? Are you here to spy on us?" He just laughed, and he asked if he could join us, and he sat down. Again, I asked him, "What are you doing here?" It was the first time ever that a Republican governor had ever come to a Democratic caucus meeting, and this is what he said to us. "I understand how upset you all are about this bill. I wanted to come here and listen to your arguments about why you think it's so horrible." So of course we were delighted and used it as an opportunity to share with him what we had learned and what we thought. He sat with us for the rest of our meeting, if you can believe that, and then he left. History will tell you that the legislature passed that bill, and after much thought and consideration, Governor Crist vetoed it, and our kids are better off today because of that. So I tell you that we need decency, compassion, and someone who is willing to listen to someone else's ideas. I mean, just think about it. Just 6 days ago, Governor DeSantis issued an order extending the emergency order for 60 more days. And yesterday, he lifted everything. Okay? Well, that tells me he doesn't think things through. Not only that, he loves to issue executive orders, but if you're paying attention, you know that what he says in a press conference and what he writes in an executive order are not the same thing. So I know that Charlie Crist will take care of all of us. He will take care of our children, our grandchildren, and all of our elderly, including our great-grandparents. And he cares deeply about all of Florida. No matter what you say, and you're going to hear a lot of negatives over the next year and a half, remember this: no one can take the fact away from Charlie that he loves Florida. He cares about our environment, he cares about our kids, and I hope that you will call your friends, your neighbors, text, and email, and tell them to vote for Charlie Crist. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Good morning and soon-to-be afternoon to you folks. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. We're here live from St. Petersburg. The next speaker here is going to take to the stage
Ladies
here
and
momentarily.
gentlemen, please welcome USF St. Pete Student Governor Andrea Rodriguez Campos.
As we listen in here for the slate of speakers, We'll be looking for your comments here in the Facebook Live comment section here with hashtag HeyJB. Again, Charlie Crist announcing his run for governor.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you today, especially seeing you all in person. And it is such an honor to have the opportunity to speak about a topic that is so important to our community, accessibility to affordable higher education. As a student of color in a primarily white institution, I've experienced firsthand the need and positive impact of having more people of color in our colleges and universities. I've also heard of students that were unsure of whether they would feel comfortable or welcomed in our schools until they saw another staff member, another student or faculty that looked just like them. This isn't a unique story. This is a concern that lives in many students' minds as they also question whether they can even afford to continue their education and follow their dreams. From an early age, I knew that the only way I would be able to fulfill my dreams of continuing my education would be to work as hard as I possibly could to qualify for financial aid programs, including Bright Futures, which is the only reason I stand before you today. I am even more lucky to be studying in the great Sunshine City, where I have found a community that is resilient, compassionate, and welcoming. A community that sees the power in collective action, in working together, and will continue to thrive through unity. Accessible higher education is not only how we transform our community today, but it's also an investment for our future. And I will not stand for the stagnant disregard that the executive leadership in Tallahassee have for our education. Congressman Crist has worked throughout his career to ensure that not only my future, but the future of everyone pursuing higher education is achievable and encouraged. As governor of Florida, he helped save the jobs of thousands of teachers during the Great Recession. Most recently, he succeeded in securing a $1 million grant to St. Petersburg College that will not only increase the diversity in our community, but will aid underrepresented students that are following their dreams with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Congressman Crist has proven to be an advocate for all of us, consistently showing us what leadership looks like. Now that I've shared what my vision of Florida will be, I ask that you join me. Please take out your phone, scan the QR code on your placard, and sign up to join Team Crist. Thank you.
I'm going back to the south. I'm going back. Where my roots ain't watered down. Growing like a baobab tree. All type on fertile ground. Ancestors put me on game. On charm, on gold chains. With my old shoe in a jail. Drip all on me.
Keeping an eye out here for your Facebook Live comments. We'll get to the next one here. It comes from Mary Niemeyer here. Hashtag HeyJB. See if we can animate that here on screen as we await the next speaker. And here it is. Hashtag HeyJB. Charlie Crist was a great governor for all Florida citizens. Bring it on, Charlie, is the comment here from Mary. As a reminder, Charlie Crist previously served as Florida's governor from 2007 to 2011. Long time ago, but Charlie Crist trying to regain his old seat in Tallahassee. He'll face, of course, challengers in the Democratic primary, and if he emerges out of the Democratic primary, he'll, of course, go on to challenge Governor Ron DeSantis in 2022. We'll be looking for your hashtag HeyJB comments as we await the next speaker here live from St. Petersburg. Another comment as we await the next speaker. Again, looking for your hashtag HeyJB comments here in the Facebook Live comment section. Hashtag HeyJB from Lynn Malnar. DeSantis is awesome. He is the reason so many are moving to Florida. Governor DeSantis, popular, of course, amongst conservatives here in the state of Florida. Will there be a Democratic challenger that can take him on in 2022? Democrats sure hope so, of course, and make it, of course, a race that will produce perhaps a Democratic governor in 2022. We'll, of course, find out here in the weeks and months ahead as to who those Democratic challengers will be, but Governor Ron DeSantis, popular amongst our Facebook fans. We'll be looking for your hashtag HeyJB comments here as we await the next speaker here live from St. Petersburg.
Sisters on the wall, let the ghost chit chat. Sisters on the wall, let the ghost chit chat. Hold my hands, we gon' pray together. Lay down, face down in the gravel. Me wearing all tie white to the funeral. Black love, we gon' stay together. Credit name feel on the speaker. Little Malcolm, I miss my mama Tina. Need another march, let me call Tamika. Need peace and reparation for my people. Forget these ladies, just I'ma let it shrivel up. Forget this fading ways, I'ma let it dread all up. It's your fist up in the air, show black love. Motherland drip on me, motherland drip on me. Honey, come around my way, around my whenever mama says so. Mama says, here I come on my toes, yeah. Follow my parade, my parade. Talking slick to my folk, I ain't forget that lip like coke, I ain't for him, swarming right. These is known to fight. Now here we come on our toes, yeah. Follow my parade, my parade. We got rhythm, we got pride. We were kings, we were tribes. Holy river, holy tongue, speak glory, feel the love. Motherland, motherland, drip on me. Hey, hey, hey. Motherland, drip on me. Hey, hey, hey. I can't forget my hit story. It's her story. Motherland, drip on me. Motherland, drip on me. Honey, come around my way, around my whenever mama says so. Mama said, here I come on my toes, yeah. Follow my parade, my parade. Talking slick to my folk, I ain't forget that lip like coke, I ain't for him, swarming right. These is known to fight. Now here we come on our toes, yeah. Follow my parade, black parade.
My chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this. He ain't never even been impressed like this. Probably why I got him quiet on the set like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Commissioner Renee Flowers.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. And what a good day it is. You see, to me, it is a great day. It is truly my honor and my sincere pleasure to introduce this day my brother and my friend, Charlie Crist. You see, many of you may know why you are here. For those who do not, allow me just to pontificate for a moment. We are here because Florida is in trouble. And someone has stepped up to the plate to say enough with playing with the people's lives. It's time to help people live. I could tell you that Charlie went to Riviera Middle School and St. Petersburg High School. I could tell you that he was a quarterback at Wake Forest. We all know those things. We know that he has served in a number of key roles representing the American people. But I want to introduce to you today a man of action. Serving as a senator in the Florida State Legislature, he supported teacher raises. He knew and knows the value of a teacher. He has touched the lives of so many with his legislation. Because you see, he vetoed the legislation that linked teacher pay to raises. That's not right. He was the last to serve as an elected commissioner of education for the state of Florida, and that is a travesty. He moved on to serve as the Attorney General, getting praises from civil rights organizations and consumer groups because he empowered the people while in office. These powers enabled him and future attorney generals to have great power to prosecute civil rights and fraud cases throughout the state of Florida. He also worked to combat spam email, freeze utility rates, and end telecom deception. He also served to make sure that a young lady by the name of J. Monique Baker, who was given a 90-year sentence on a drug charge, he worked and made sure that she was released on clemency. That's our governor. He supports our environment. In 2010, he was successful in having the state to purchase over 73,000 acres in the Everglades. That's a person who believes in climate change. And after claims that computerized voting machines undercounted votes in the black community, Crist endorsed legislation requiring paper records of all ballots in elections. Instead of reducing health care coverage, Congressman Crist served into law expanding health care coverage statewide for autism disorders and legislation expanding low-income coverage and creating public and private insurance plans and options in Florida. That's our governor. You see, I'm talking about the man who serves on the Appropriations Committee right now in Congress, who made sure that veterans were looked out for, that they received the health care that they deserve, that they received the payment that they deserve for standing up for a country that is the home of the brave. Our congressman did that. He also supports the John Lewis voting rights legislation, making sure that we don't have to go back every year to get permission to vote. We have the right to vote. He supports the George Floyd legislation. Get your knee off my neck. And he also made sure that during COVID, businesses received the financial funds that they needed in order to remain open, but to be safe by making sure that we wear masks, that we socially distance, and that immunizations were provided to communities of color that were going without the necessary immunizations that they needed. Our congressman did that. You see, formerly serving as the 44th governor of the state of Florida from 2007 to 2011, he swore an oath to serve as the head of the executive branch, the branch of Florida State's government, and to serve as the commander-in-chief of the state's military. He knew his role, he knew his duty, and that is to enforce the state laws and the power to either approve or veto. But his job is not to make the law, such as what we saw on yesterday. I'm asking, that you join with me by sending Charlie Crist back to the governor's mansion to serve as the 47th governor of the state of Florida, making Tallahassee a house for the people. Please welcome, with a rounding sound of applause, stand to your feet. Let's give it up for the next governor of the state of Florida, our very own Charlie Crist.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby. Remember the day I set you free.
Thank you so much. Good morning, St. Petersburg. It is so good to be with you today in the Sunshine City and the Sunshine State. Listen, I want to thank everyone who's here today. Thank you for your leadership and for your commitment to the people. My friends, on days like these, the possibilities seem absolutely endless, and the opportunities for every Floridian to reach their full potential goes as far as the blue skies and the beautiful sunsets we enjoy in Florida. For generations, our state has served as a true beacon for people seeking a fresh start in the land of paradise. That's my family story, too. My grandfather, Adam Christodoulos, came to this country in 1914 from the Greek island of Cyprus. Even though he came through Ellis Island with just pennies, he eventually made his way to Pennsylvania. He couldn't speak the language, and he only had a third-grade education. He didn't speak English, he didn't know anyone, but he was full of determination and faith in the promise that is America. He shined shoes for a living for $5 a month. He worked hard, he saved his money, and he opened a small business, a dry cleaning business and a cafe. My grandfather cleaned clothes for years. He used to say he cleaned clothes of all the doctors in the town, so that his son, my father, Charlie Crist Sr., could go to college and become a doctor himself, raising 4 kids in America's middle class, including me. My parents moved to St. Petersburg when I was just 3 years old. Regardless of your place of birth, or your race, or your gender, or your wealth, for a century, people have been coming to Florida to pursue that same American dream, to raise a family, to work hard, to send their kids to good public schools, and to try to put away a little so they can retire with dignity. I grew up in this wonderful city. I went to St. Pete High. I graduated from Florida State University. My family story, go Noles. My family story is the American story. It's a story of American opportunity. It's unique to our Florida. My grandfather's struggle, the opportunities he provided my father and me, and the values my mom and dad taught me and my 3 sisters, that's why 2 of my sisters became public school teachers. That's why I've dedicated my life to public service. And that's why I'm a proud Florida Democrat. That's why I'm an eternal optimist, too. Because this is an only in Florida story that beats in my heart. But these days, it's so much harder for Floridians to pursue their dreams. It's harder to thrive or even survive in Florida's economy. Every year, the middle class gets squeezed by rent, by housing cost, utility bills, health care cost, student loan debt, and stagnant wages. People of color continue to be systemically locked out of opportunity and equal treatment. And during this pandemic, Black and Hispanic residents are more likely to get COVID, more likely to die from it, more likely to be unemployed, and less likely to receive a vaccine. A century ago, our country welcomed my grandfather, gave him the opportunity to work hard and to rise up. Today, working people are still full of hope, still working hard, but too many are struggling to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head. This isn't by accident, my friends. The deck is stacked against the middle class, aided and abetted by Governor Ron DeSantis and his Republican allies in Tallahassee. This is a governor who doesn't listen, who doesn't care and doesn't think about you. Unless, of course, you can write him a campaign check. Really, he sees our state's wonderful diversity as a threat, not as a strength we all celebrate. He's failed to lead during the greatest health and economic crisis of our lifetime. Local officials were forced to fend for themselves without direction from our state. Scientists and doctors offered advice, but he listened to quacks and conspiracy theorists. He's waged a constant assault on democracy, from voting rights to civil rights. He's promised tax cuts to the wealthy and the corporations and the well-connected. Yet our unemployment benefits are still some of the lowest in America. Governor DeSantis' vision of Florida is clear. If you want to vote, he won't help you. If you're working, he won't support you. If you're a woman, he will not empower you. If you're an immigrant, he won't accept you. And if you're facing discrimination, he won't respect you. If you're sick, he won't care for you. If you're impacted by climate change, and we all are, he won't even believe you. That's not a vision for our state. That's why in Florida, where opportunity should exist for everyone willing to work hard, millions of people are just barely getting by. Changing this is not going to be easy. Powerful special interests depend on Governor DeSantis for their massive profits, and they'll spend tens of millions of dollars to stop us. Because if everyone rises up, they can't stay on top. No, friends, this won't be an easy fight, but nothing in life worth fighting for is easy. I'm announcing today that I'm running for governor of Florida for a Florida for all. Yeah, it's a little hot here, but we're in the Sunshine City and the Sunshine State, and we're just getting started. We need to stop the division and the hate. We need to bring our state together and finally open up opportunity for every Floridian, because you deserve jobs you can live on, housing that you can afford, and justice that is truly equal. And that's what I'll fight for every single day. I'm running. Thank you. I'm running so you will be in charge again. So you will have a governor who will work for the people with a steady hand and an open heart. That is a moment built on consensus rather than fueling division, to restore civility instead of demonizing those who have a different point of view. Together, we will build a Florida for all. First, I will protect civil rights and human rights. We won't make it harder to vote. We'll make it easier to vote, just as I did when I was governor. You deserve that. We won't ignore the people's will on constitutional amendments, and we'll protect all of the rights of all Floridians all the time. Peaceful protesters, women and their right to choose, and the LGBTQ community. And we will expand Medicaid, making affordable health care a human right. Second, I'll treat climate change like the existential threat that it is. We'll name a chief climate change officer to tackle the crisis head on. We'll develop a statewide climate change plan like the one developed by our Tampa Bay leaders. And we'll develop a statewide energy plan setting ambitious goals for renewable energy like solar and wind. My God, we are the Sunshine State. And we'll invest in safeguarding our communities from rising sea levels and stronger hurricanes. Third, I will invest in the future of Florida. We'll invest in our public schools and relieve students and teachers from high-stakes testing. We'll invest in colleges and universities and prepare our kids for the 21st century economy. We'll never cut Bright Future scholarships. And we'll invest in infrastructure and public transit, not toll roads to nowhere. We'll support small businesses, not tax cuts for corporations. We'll support working families by creating decent jobs, jobs with dignity, and keeping taxes low, and keeping college affordable, and making health care available, and the cost of property insurance reasonable. Listen, I know this is an ambitious agenda, but we can get it done. We'll follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I wear these on my wrist every day, and it says, practice the golden rule every day. If we all simply did that, a lot of these problems would go away. We'll treat those that disagree with us today as our allies of tomorrow, not our enemies. There's too little decency and civility in Florida's politics, frankly, in America's politics. And changing that starts with changing the attitude at the top. Unlike this governor and the Republican leadership in Tallahassee, we will listen to our fellow Floridians. Whether it's fully legalizing marijuana, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, strengthening background checks, banning assault weapons, all of these things need to be done to have true justice in our state and our country. Black and brown Floridians are treated fairly under this new administration when we win. That's what this is about, fundamental fairness for all. A Florida for all Floridians. And listening to the people, it shouldn't be a radical notion. It's really pretty simple. Just do the right thing. It's governing with the heart, Scott. It's doing the right thing for all our people and working together to build a Florida for all Floridians. Listen, that's what we've been doing in Congress, working with President Joe Biden's leadership and signing the American Rescue Plan. Here's what it did. It's meant checks for 20 million of our fellow Floridians, $7 billion in Florida schools to open for our kids and make them safe, $5 billion for Florida's counties and cities to keep us all safe, and $3.5 billion to ensure states like Florida have no more excuses when it comes to expanding Medicaid and providing health care to hundreds of thousands of working Floridians. This is odd. Governor DeSantis opposes that bill. Believe it or not, he said, quote, "It stinks to high heaven." That's unconscionable. But we shouldn't be surprised. Every step of the way, this governor has been more focused on his personal political fortune than the struggles of regular Floridians. And that's just not right. Just like our former president. He always claims credit, but never takes responsibility. It begs the question, my friends, how many lives would have been saved if Governor DeSantis had listened to the scientists and medical experts? If he had simply promoted a mask-wearing and social distancing policy instead of a political agenda? How many lives would have been saved if Governor DeSantis had implemented a statewide plan to protect Floridians? How many small businesses would have been saved if Governor DeSantis recognized the key to rebuilding our economy isn't politics, it's beating the virus and ensuring people's safety? The truth is, Governor DeSantis has failed us. Just look at the terrible damage Governor DeSantis and his allies have brought about and caused during this legislative session. A $1 billion tax increase on ordinary Floridians to pay for tax breaks for corporations. New limits on your and my voting rights as regular Floridians. It's unbelievable. Outright discrimination against transgender kids, mean and cruel to children. This agenda is shameful, and it doesn't represent Floridians. And nothing is as shameful as the way DeSantis steered vaccine shots to the wealthy white neighborhoods of his most generous supporters. It's heartbreaking. Governor DeSantis and the leaders of the Republican Party have simply lost touch with what regular Floridians need and truly care about. It started around the time I left the party over a decade ago, and it's only gotten worse. They demonize, distract, and divide Floridians. They even lie to their own supporters because they know the truth, that their agenda does next to nothing to help Floridians in the middle class and everyone working hard to get there. Their violent mob that attacked the nation's capital on January 6th shows the consequences of those lies. And Governor DeSantis is trying to become a national leader of that Republican Party. So it's time, frankly, it's past time, for your voice, the people's voice, to be heard again in Tallahassee. It's time to build a Florida for all Floridians. And if you stand with us and volunteer with us and organize with us, knock on doors with us, make calls with us, we're going to take back our beautiful Florida. Because the change Florida needs isn't about any one candidate. It has come from all of us. It has to come from all of us. And if we seize this moment If we take this chance, if we focus on the things that unite us, we can create the Florida we know is truly possible. Piece by piece and brick by brick, we can build a Florida for all Floridians. We can create a society that values every person. We can break the fever of division and hatred that has afflicted our politics. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's work. Let's organize. Harder than we ever have before. Let's fight to bring our state back together. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless our beautiful Florida. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Charlie Crist announcing his run for Florida governor in 2022 with some strong words for the current governor of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis. Charlie Crist announcing his run here from St. Petersburg, Florida, where you can see that a socially distanced crowd has gathered here to support Crist and his run, trying to reclaim his seat in Tallahassee. Again, he was governor, elected governor, and served as governor of Florida from 2007 to 2011, roughly more than a decade ago when he was governor of the state of Florida, trying to do it all again. Can he do so? We're going to find out here in the months ahead as we get a better idea as to who's going to be challenging him on the Democratic side of the ticket. One Democratic challenger will be going up against Governor Ron DeSantis in 2022. Folks, you can read more right now on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. We're also going to have coverage tonight on WFLA News Channel 8 on your side, your NBC station right here in Tampa Bay, as we see Charlie Crist, his family, friends, gatherers, supporters here in St. Petersburg, Florida. We'll listen in live.
I hear a lot about sinners. Don't think that I'll be. Baby, do a leap and make them dance when they come on. Everybody looking for a dance floor to run on. If you wanna